travelers, Mag, I, and Skeletor 10 here on day 163 of our trip around the United States. This morning, we're starting things off here in front of the Crosby County Pioneer Memorial. From here, we have the longest miles of any day that I've covered whatsoever. We're going to be taking on 455 miles as we progress through the day in the last counties that we have planned for this segment of our route. We're going to be proceeding directly east out of Crosby and making our way into Benjamin. Once we hit Benjamin, we're going to begin a steady trek south until we get to Abilene. And from Abilene, we're going to make the jump into Dallas. What makes these 455 miles a day a little bit more palatable is that we have a long gap between Abilene and Dallas where we've already covered all those counties, so we won't be geocaching that entire section. We will actually be jumping pretty far through the night for there. So if we're lucky, we might actually finish up today with daylight on our side before we get to the most serious part of our miles for the day. For our targets today, we expect to see quite a few arrows and quite a few cemeteries. Those are the two things that you can absolutely count on from this section of Texas. So those are the two types of geocaches that we have absolutely counted on having on that target list for us. We're looking forward to a fantastic day of geocaching. We're going to have a lot of good times laughing on the road at each other, and we're hoping to share some of the great sights we see along the way with you. So let's see what it's got in store. Come on, let's go.
Oh, hey, wait a minute. Where'd the humans go? Mag? Skeletor? Where are you guys? Oh no, they left me. Our first stop of the day was the Crosby County Pioneer Museum. Established in 1958 and a replica of the Hank Smith House, the first permanent home located in Blanco Canyon, the museum houses a community center and around 45,000 artifacts culled from local history. The museum also features a comprehensive collection of Native American tools and artworks, as well as an early 20th century brush automobile, a diorama of Blanco Canyon, and other exhibits documenting 700 years of tradition and culture. Just down the road, we found ourselves face to face with the world's largest jackrabbit.
We are here at the home of the world's largest jackrabbit at 14.5 feet tall. And having seen a lot of the world's largest, Skeletor 10 and I are both a little incredulous that this is actually the world's largest jackrabbit. But Google seems to think so. So anybody out there wanting to get a world's largest record, I'd say the jackrabbit's probably a pretty easy place to break into that one.
Our 400-plus mile stretch moving east through the center of the panhandle of Texas brought us through a number of very small towns. Idalou, Lorenza, Rawls, Matador, Paducah, Guthrie, Benjamin, and Knox City, just to name a few that we had passed through. Most of these cities shared the same traits in common. They had very small populations, usually under 1,000, and almost no people on the streets whatsoever. They had almost all seen better days as well. Most of these small towns that we passed through were very run down, with buildings that had boarded up windows and broken out glass. In many of the downtown square areas, there were buildings with crumbled bricks set into huge piles. What these towns did have, however, was an assortment of murals left over from better days. As we made our way steadily from one town to the next, we stopped at each of these murals we saw along the way and appreciated the artwork left behind. And with a little bit of luck, some of these small towns will see a resurgence in future days.
There are just like no guardrails in this part of Texas. So the cords are pointing here, and this may be the very first guardrail we've seen in all 4 days of geocaching. We're about to find out. Look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. Oh, and it's, look at this. I want you guys to all keep in mind what I've been saying here. You can have a guardrail hide that does not have to be a magnetic key holder. This is a full-size geocache. If we're gonna find one guardrail in the panhandle of Texas, this is the kind to do it with.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, yeah. This cache rocks.
After discovering that the guardrail hides in this area featured full-size lock-and-lock containers rather than micros like magnetic key holders, we could not resist stopping at every single one along the way. And every single one was fairly well maintained, with brand new geocache and, for the most part, trackables as well.
I have no idea how Skeletor 10 managed to pull this off, but he found the only run of guardrails
in this part of Texas. I don't think y'all understand. There aren't really guardrails in this part of Texas. There's no need for them. They don't have them out roads. There's nowhere you're gonna go off except on the edge of a flat field. So the fact that we have all these geocaches available on these few guardrails we have, this is like a miracle. You're a miracle worker, Skeletor.
What I do?
Found the only guardrail geocache hides in the panhandle.
That's what I do, baby.
I think we got a winner.
Oh, yeah.
We also stopped off at each one of the arrows located along our route too, although there were not as many as we'd like, with several of them no longer in sight. And then we came across one that was not like the others.
I had actually been led to believe that all these arrows were the same size. I don't know where this tiny little guy came from, but he is half the size of any arrow we've seen anywhere else. Isn't it just adorable?
There is not really much density to the geocaches located along our route through the center of the panhandle. They are pretty few and far between, and spread with 2 or 3 options per county as we made our way from one to the next. We did not mind, however, that there were a few targets to choose from, as the ones that there were very well maintained and fun to find. We were also very surprised to come across a micro hidden within a canthole, as these have all but disappeared in recent years. Unlike the far west side of the panhandle, we had returned to greenery, so there were several opportunities to find geocaches hidden within the brush. Between the two of us, we had absolutely no trouble making the finds. If one of us was struggling, the other would be fortunate enough to spot the container in short order.
We got a winner!
In Paducah, the county seat for Cottle County, we stopped by to visit the county courthouse and had a quick tour of the town. As with so many of the other small towns we passed through today, it has definitely seen better days. But we were lucky enough to encounter a local entrepreneur selling barbecue out of the side of his truck, so we enjoyed a fantastic meal before hitting the road once again and covering some miles.
As we've been steadily pushing further and further east across the panhandle, we've watched the land transition ever so slowly. Little bushes here, a little bit more greenery there, more grass here and there, and it's really starting to become a landscape that's not just desert anymore. What's interesting is we've been driving these roads for like an hour. We haven't seen another car. I feel perfectly comfortable standing in the middle of the highway right now, shooting this video, with no chance there's going to be a car coming anytime soon. Lord help us if we break down, it would not be a good place for that.
On our way through Guthrie, the county seat of King County, we found ourselves in the loneliest small town we had seen yet. And that should come as little surprise. With a population of around 265, this is the second least populated county in Texas by size, and the third least populated county within the entire United States. So yeah, all that's to say, it really felt like a lonely day on the road with just Skeletor 10, Aichan, and I.
There's a certain way the dog looks at us when we're getting a DNF, because we've spent way longer at the ground zero than we do at other spots. Now she's like, if you guys need help, I'll come sniff that thing out for you. It's not here, Aichan, but I do appreciate the offer.
Nearing the end of our route for the day, we came into Benjamin, the county seat of Knox County, and saw a story that was not that much different than Guthrie up the road. Featuring a population of only around 258, once again we saw very little indication of life on the streets. What we did see, however, at the intersections of Highway 82 and Highway 6 running right through the center of town was the Knox County Veterans Memorial. This impressive monument honors all Knox County veterans from the Spanish-American War all the way through current conflicts. The center arch is flanked by 10 granite slabs bearing the names of veterans who have passed during those wars. Pushing our way south out of Rule, we finally started to encounter civilization again once we reached the city of Anson, with a population of around 2,500. From this point forward, we knew we had made it. Not only had we completed our target list of the day, but we were back in civilization.
All right, that is a wrap to our last day geocaching here in the panhandle of Texas. We are just on the outskirts of Abilene now, about 160 miles from returning to Dallas. From here, it's pretty much a straight shot. We have finished all of our county targets and all of our page targets within the Panhandle, so everything that we're going to be doing from here is going to be playtime. So I would have to say, after having done Skeletor 10's route over the last 4 days, number one, my assessment was right on point. It was a very aggressive route. Number two, it was planned perfectly well. He knew it was aggressive and he knew the timing, and we hit it just the way we thought we would each day. Now, we did move a little slower than we thought yesterday. But who would have planned to wake up for snow in Dalhart, right? I mean,
God,
oh my
that's
goodness.
terrible.
But we got through it, we made it, and today turned out to be a lot better, and it's even popped up to 50 degrees today, which is pretty phenomenal considering we were really freezing last night. We've still got one more day with Skeletor 10, and tomorrow is going to be play day all day long. We're gonna go geocache the targets he's identified and go see if we can get him to his goal, which is having found 2,000 geocaches for the year. And we got pretty close to covering the end of that spread over the last few days, and we might just be able to pull it off tomorrow. I guess we're gonna see.
We'll see.
Like this video, subscribe to stay tuned for daily updates, and we'll see you out on the trail.